Cocoa police say the driver of that car has a history of domestic violence in Illinois. Well, now she's back behind bars here, charged with attempted second-degree murder after video shows a man, her significant other, clinging onto the hood of a car. And as you can see, my fingers barely fit underneath the hood, and this is how it appears the man was trying to keep himself from falling off the car. There are over 70 acres burning. I want to step out of the way real quick because you can actually see this helicopter coming across here. So this helicopter has actually been stopping at individual lakes on the properties around this area, filling up with water before flying back over that area that is on fire. This is one of the trees investigators say a car hit. You can see the bark that's missing and even a bit of glass down here. And if we come across this sidewalk here, right over in this area, there are more car parts, pieces just like this one, and all this burnt area. This is charred grass from where investigators say the car caught fire. Here in Wagner's backyard, I'm actually walking along this seawall. It's about an 80-foot section, and he says it eroded onto the beach in 2022 during the hurricanes. Now, for the last 2.5 years, he's been rebuilding. He added these rocks all along this section here, and is finishing the project right as we start the new hurricane season. Henderson says his jet ski was in the water right at the bottom of this boat ramp, but it drifted into that tall grass. So he went into the water to try to retrieve it, but he slipped right on this algae along the boat ramp and gashed open his shin on those rocks. You can actually see the plastic up near the roofline is melted. There are charred marks along the building. Now, I've been speaking to the director, and she says the store focuses on helping people in need, but this fire has caused them to close down, meaning they can't even take donations. Until they find a new building, they really won't be able to offer help to anyone. Saturday, they're going to play the winners of Arkansas or Texas Tech, so not quite sure who the matchup's going to be, but this Saturday, the Gators are going to be in the Elite Eight with a big game ahead of them. Police, drop it! Drop your weapon! Hey, drop the knife! Drop the knife! I'm going to tase you! Drop the knife! A woman being held hostage by a man with a knife is the first hands-on training exercise Orlando police put FOX35 through.
The very first time an officer goes to a domestic violence or goes to a robbery or a theft or a battery, that is not the first time they're seeing that problem. They should have encountered those problems at least in training at least one time.
Hey, drop the bat, sir! Drop the bat! A virtual reality simulator puts officers in a situation where they're responding to a domestic violence call, and split-second decisions must be made to save a life. Deploy the taser. Drop the weapon!
It's not working.
You showed up, met with the victim, you approached him, you gave him commands, he ran from you, you entered his home, you gave him commands again, you tased him twice, and then you shot him. Why? To save that person's life.
Give some sort of command.
De-escalation techniques and how officers determine the necessary level of force to use. This training provides officers with hands-on exposure.
So for this scenario, you're responding to a trespass at a grocery store.
Trespass at a grocery store.
Meet with the store manager.
Meet with the store manager. Hey, yeah, we're here to help, man. What's up? Sir, drop the gun.
It's almost like a taste test, right? They get to go in there, see what it's like to respond to a high-stress incident, where we can repeat it and do it a couple times without fear of being injured.
Put your hands behind your back. Now, officers with the Orlando Police Department go through these types of training exercises routinely to ensure they're prepared for their daily response calls. Reporting in Orlando, Chancelor Winn, FOX35 News. John, there are 21 homes just on the other side of this bridge, and as you can see here, there are cones blocking the road. That's preventing the cars from going by. That means families, to get home, they're having to walk across the bridge. Most of them are sleeping in their beds tonight, except for one family. They say when the water was shut off, when this bridge right here collapsed, eventually the water was turned back on. And they say when they got home, they noticed their house was flooded. The mother says her son has special needs, so therefore they still cannot go home.
It was stressful. The nurses were stressed out. I was stressed out. He's got 24/7 nursing.
Kristen Clark says her 16-year-old son, Jason, has special needs. So evacuating from their home when the bridge collapsed was tough enough, especially with the water and electricity having been shut off.
He's got chronic lung disease, which affects his breathing, so that's very important that we grab all the oxygen supplies that he needs. He has a rare seizure disorder also, and so we had to get all his medications.
First responders helped get Jason from his home, and his little sister, Jade Toledo, says the evacuation was messy.
I was trying to pack up some of my stuff too, so I would have some clothes. And then
So they got Jason out on the stretcher.
For nearly 2 weeks, Jason and his family have been staying in hotels. And when they were finally able to come back home, Clark says she didn't know the water was turned back on, and so she walked into a soaking wet home.
Make-A-Wish did the room for him in the downstairs living room, but everything's going to have to be stripped and everything's going to have to be thrown out.
Now Clark says she doesn't know when her family will be able to return home permanently.
With somebody that's got severe chronic lung disease, you're not going back to this house until it's cleaned out, and it's got to be, you have to do a restoration.
Now, I know it's dark, but that's about halfway down the bridge. You can see the road still is not completely finished. Looks like it still has to be paved. Now, once this bridge is finished, these cones here are going to be removed. Cars will be able to go back through. But right now, families are continuing to have to walk home if they're trying to get to their houses. For now, reporting live in Eustis, Chancelor Winn, FOX35 News. John, right now, crews are still working. Investigators are trying to figure out specifically what caused this explosion. We know it was a gas leak that had this jewelry store here explode. What they're trying to figure out is how that ignited. You can see just how charred this jewelry store is. The windows all blowing out here. A very large and scary explosion. The people and the businesses nearby, that's within 100 to 200 feet. They say that this explosion rattled. It shook their buildings. Surveillance video from the business Tip Tops shows a jewelry store explode when a natural gas leak ignited.
And all of a sudden there was a tremendous boom. The building shook a little bit, and we all jumped up and said, "What the heck was that?"
One person was inside the building, and witnesses standing no more than 100 feet away say they saw a woman walk out of the smoky building with her arms and clothes burned.
We're standing there for a good little while, then this lady comes staggering out, from the building. We didn't even know anyone was in there at that time.
Eustis Fire Chief Michael Swanson says the woman was the only person inside of the shop at the time of the explosion and had to be flown to a hospital because of the severity of her injuries. It wasn't until after the explosion that people in nearby businesses were evacuated because Chief Swanson says the gas leak had been contained before the explosion.
When they secured the gas line, we were actually getting ready to demob. We were still taking readings everywhere. We weren't leaving, but we were actually declining in our response to the situation.
Now, Chief Swanson says this is a tough gas leak to investigate because they knew about the gas leak. They knew there was a leak in this area, and they were taking readings. They had actually crimped the gas line underground and had believed that the gas leak had stopped. Again, that was before the explosion. They say this building, the jewelry store, was built in the 50s or the 60s, so it's an older building with a older foundation that had no gas lines running to that building. And I mentioned earlier, trying to figure out specifically what sparked this explosion. Well, Chief Swanson says in the back of the building where the explosion happened, there is welding equipment, soldering equipment, because this is a jewelry store, so they do work on those types of metals. But right now, they're still trying to figure out specifically what caused this gas leak to spark and cause that explosion. But for now, reporting live in Eustis, Chancelor Winn, FOX35 News. Here along Donnelly Street, these barriers are actually stopping people from driving any further because about 100 to 200 feet that way, the road is simply gone. And as that road was collapsing, a woman was stuck in her car right on the edge until her boss trudged through rushing water to save her.
You're sitting there, you're just counting minutes, and it's like, you just want the road to hold.
If we slow the video down, you can see just how close Christina Cortez's car is from the edge of a collapsing road.
At that point, it was like adrenaline rush kick in. Save her now.
And Cortez's boss, George Halpern, says he did what he had to do to save her.
I started yelling, "Christina, get out of the car, get out of the car." She couldn't hear me, or she was just in shock. So I decided, okay, I have to get to the car now. That's when it started getting scarier and sketchier, and I'm just hanging onto these like concrete barriers, walking slowly.
The two were able to make it to safety before Donnelly Street fully collapsed into a ravine, swallowing Cortez's car.
I think that she was in such shock whenever I showed up that she would have sat there and waited for help, and I don't know what kind of time frame she had left.
Cortez says she was heading home from working at Pizza More when she noticed the road in front of her and next to her had washed away.
That was a lane. Like, that's a whole lane that I literally drove to get to work at like 3 o'clock that afternoon.
Halpern says he received a text from Cortez with a pin of her location and that she needed help.
She sent the pin at 10:16. At 10:21, I was there. I think her being able to throw me a pin is why I was able to get there, because I would have just been aimlessly going up and down side roads looking for her until, her car went into the abyss.
Less than 24 hours later, the danger the two faced is evident, as Sky Fox drone video shows slabs of pavement and chunks of concrete had crumbled during Sunday night's storm.
It set in, and like I stayed up till 4. My head was hurting. I've been thinking about it all day.
My mom's calling him an angel right now. I'm just really grateful that I had people that were close and would come get me.
Throughout Lake County, there are other roads that have washed away. So if you see barriers like these or road closure signs, do not drive around them because the road could be gone, just as it is here at Donnelly Street. Reporting in Lake County, Chancelor Winn, FOX35 News.